Hi there. Just wanted to do a couple things today, and I'm not really sure of how this is going to come through, but have been reading through comments and emails and attempting to make a little bit of a list of questions that people have and trying to make sure that I answer all of them, at least make an effort to. Wanted to share with you guys, my birthday was in March, and one of my dear friends and I have not been able to connect since then, and she dropped by with her daughter the other night, and their family had gotten me a present, and this just shows how much my friends know who I am and get me. See if I can get this in there. It is what it is. I love it. It just I just love it. That's all I can say. It goes right on the top of my mantle now, and it's something that I just really appreciate having in my experience in my home. And that kind of speaks to the theme of this. So one of the questioners watched the video, What Would Love Do? What Would Love Say? How Would Love Respond? And in the comments stated that in her experience, she's attempting to be love, and that her husband then does something to irritate her, is untidy, I think was what she referred to, and then that upsets her and she can't be love. And I guess the response to that is love has no expectations. The mind is what has expectations. Tidiness or untidiness happens. And how we respond to it is not an action of love, it's an action of mind. So how I'll speak to this experientially is, in the video, took you through a real life scenario between myself and my son. Yes, the pain body still arises in the self, or in the experience of Kelly. And the person on the other end who knows that pain body will of course be reluctant when some approach style is changing. Again, there is no change happening. It's just a story. It's just an act. It's just part of your play. That there is some you there implementing some new approach. And even in that, an awareness that whatever is arising is perfect, even if the receipt of the new approach is denied at first. Even that's part of the story. Love does not have any expectations. Love does not do something and then say, okay, well, I tried something and they didn't respond. That's still mind. That's still the mind saying, I had an expectation that if I did A, B would happen, which says that there's someone controlling something. It's really I was talking with someone last night on Skype, and I was explaining to them that, or the story of Kelly was explaining to them, that it's really just a tiny, tiny little shift of perception. This thing called non-resistance is just happening. There's no one doing it. This is the biggest thing that I keep going on and on about, or it keeps arising in themes, is that people watch these videos and then somehow think that there's some them that's taking something away and implementing something, and then therefore there is an outcome. If there is a viewer watching this, that was always intended. If there is a shift in behavior or beliefs from that, that was always intended. And that shift in behavior or beliefs is not coming from anyone. There's no doer there. This is all simply happening. The response to the videos is also not coming from anyone because there's nobody there. So there's also comments and communications coming through. I've had 3 or 4 of them of people saying, if people aren't getting what you're doing, stop doing the videos. Well, my response is, there is no one here doing this. This is just happening, and if it stops, that just happens. I know it's an interesting one to wrap the mind around, because the mind wants to believe that there is some doer here doing something and choosing something. Okay, another common one that's coming through again is that there is a resistance to this knowingness that there is no choice. And this, again, circles back around to the gent that I had a conversation with last night about non-resistance. So it's just a tiny, tiny little shift in perception, really. Non-resistance does not mean that you're doing anything. Because the other mind trap that can happen is this belief that I'm going to become non-resistant. Okay, I'm not going to resist anything. Well, who is the I that's not resisting? That again is just another form of resistance, resisting resistance. Don't focus, or there's no telling you not to do anything, because it's either happening or it's not happening, but it's why I often just speak of my own experience. Resistance either happens or it doesn't happen. So anger arises. Love that. Fear arises. Love that. Jealousy arises. Love that. Non-resistant says, I'm loving what's arising. And what happens in the loving of what arises is those then let go of you, because they were never orchestrated by you, because there is no you doing this. The experiencer is just experiencing through the illusion. Remember, consciousness is all of this. The eyes are the lens to see this through this vehicle called a car or a body, which apparently is doing something. But I am never that. So non-resistance is not about becoming this person who says, I'm not going to resist that. I'm not going to resist that. Because that is then another form of resistance. Resistance to resistance. It's crazy how the mind works. It just continues to layer down into these deep patterns of beliefs that there's some doer here. There's some separate person doing something. Saying, I'm not going to do that, again, says that there's some choice to be made. And the choice is, I, who is not even real, is not going to do something. Behind all of that is awareness, watching. So it's not about trying to do anything. It's about simply loving what's here. Love does not discern. It does not say this shouldn't be loved. It does not say the dirty socks on the floor are not allowed. It does not say the untidy husband shouldn't be doing that. It does not say that the child talking back to me should not be doing that. Love says, this is here, I'm going to love even this. And if in that, some apparent story of a Kelly reacting, getting angry, losing her temper, disciplining, going into ego, getting jealous, any of those things, it does not even say that that's bad. It says love that. The gift in all of this is just loving what's arising, even in reaction. Because the witness is aware of the reaction, and by that, the reaction is just let go. No one's doing anything. I've been invited to do a blog talk radio show, and this is going to be tomorrow, Friday, April the 6th. I will post it in the comments under this video for those of you who are interested, and I will also share it on Facebook. It's going to be an interesting radio show. I'm going to be interviewed by one of my dear sweet friends, Mike Loween, actually two of my dear sweet friends, Mike Loween and Nikki Dobson. And it's A Course in Miracles blog talk radio show. And of course, many of the ACIM followers get quite upset about the thought that there is no choice. So this is really instrumental in their belief system, right? It's really kind of shaking into everything that they've studied and they believe. And that's kind of one of the themes in my list here. I mean, I've written several things down, but I've grouped them into themes. And one of the themes is that the anger, or the reaction, or the defensiveness is caused by the fact that some belief system is being thought to be attacked. There is no one here doing any attacking. That's the beauty and the gift of all of this. There was no effort from this experience of Kelly to go out and find this radio show. This radio show is happening. It came forward, it was offered, and here it is. And it's just happening. And the viewers or the people who call in that are feeling upset or angered or defensive about it, even that is perfect. And there is no expectation in this experience of Kelly of any outcome from that radio show, which is another beautiful thing. It's all just happening. It's just happening. So I will put the details in the YouTube video comments, and I'll share on Facebook. If you guys haven't joined me on Facebook yet, please do come join on there. I try to post daily and send updates. Many of you are asking to have Skype time with me. And I, in fact, had one gent get really upset. He went to my website and saw that I charged for sessions. And, about 25 lines of just debunking everything that I've said because he saw some fee on my website. Let me clarify. I do counseling services. I do a lot of grief counseling. I work with teens who are going through troubled times. I work with hospice patients. I work with people with disease in the body. I do a tremendous amount of work at no cost. Yes, there are fees associated with my time, like anyone else in this world. We live in a place where we have to provide for ourselves. I'm a single mom. There is no story of Kelly here attempting to make money off of what's happened to me. And I know that I don't need to explain this, because explanation is even believing the thought that came through in the story. But I feel like it's worth mentioning here. Just like you, there are only a certain number of hours in the day of this experience of Kelly, and I could spend all 24 hours of my day trying to reach out and help people. That's why I've attempted to start these videos in some effort to reach a wider audience, completely free, sharing my own experience. But certainly there are some folks who want a deeper one-on-one consultation session, and that's what I do. My fees are actually very reasonable if you comparatively look across the marker to people who are doing the type of work that I'm doing. The likes of Sylvia Brown and some of the other quote-unquote psychics in this experience are charging $350 to $500 an hour. I trust my guidance. When I'm called to do something at no charge, that's what I do. And many of you, and feel free to comment on this, have been gifted free time with me or this experience of Kelly. It's balance, guys. I wish that I could gift all of my time. I still work a corporate job to be able to do this work and provide for my son. So there's a separate thing going on here, which is the story of Kelly, who's still in this world and yet not of it. There's this corporate job that happens, and it happens until it doesn't happen. And so those who are reading and watching these videos and then all of a sudden go to my website and get so angry about some fee associated with, and don't even take 5 seconds to reach out to me and just make a complete assumption based on that, that's your story. It's your story. And I did write the gent back who sent that very long email and said, look, had you have just reached out to me, we would have worked something out. But the assumption was made, and who's suffering? It's not me. It's you. There's a suffering happening on your end because you've now debunked everything that you were holding some beauty in, right? He had said that he had watched all the videos and that they were fascinating and he really enjoyed them. And then he went to my website and saw my fee. And he was very angry. And he was a theology student. So I don't know, maybe there's something there. A lot of people who are in some kind of a religious belief system get very angered by the thought that someone would charge for this type of work. Does your church not hand around a basket for donations? Does your minister not make a salary? Do the priests not get paid by the archdiocese? Everyone has to live in this duality right now, and part of that duality is providing, and that's all part of this story. It's all part of this act. I have several people who support my work and often send in donations so that I can continue to do this pro bono stuff. Again, I do a lot of work unpaid and graciously, happily do so. So again, sorry to go on about that, but I just want to make sure that people are aware that the experience of Kelly is not doing this to make a fortune. If that were true, I wouldn't still be working a corporate job. I wouldn't be, look at the bags under my eyes. Often I'm up 3, 4 in the morning trying to respond to emails, trying to keep up with what other people seem to be needing in this, and yet even that is part of the story. There's no doer here. The body wakes up and it happens, and there is this awareness watching it all, not discerning it as good or bad, and not saying you shouldn't be doing that, and not saying, well, that's your suffering. It's just happening. And there's nobody here resisting it. It's just loving what is. The body wakes up. The body is called to type into somebody and communicate, and that's what happens. I even had a really interesting experience the other night that brought much flavor to the table in the experience of Kelly. I'll share here because I'm not using any names and the family gave me permission to do so. But I had a client who I had only worked with one time write to me and basically asked if I would get on Facebook chat with him, and I never sign into that. I just don't have time for that. But something called me to do so. And so I logged in, and he proceeded to tell me that he had taken a bunch of pills and drank alcohol and that he wanted to leave and he was now scared. So here's somebody who is attempting to commit suicide. I, of course, didn't have a home address or phone number for him. I only had an email. So I got on the phone with the police and did my best to work with them to try and locate him. And in continuing to chat with him, was finally able to locate him. He did fall away and stop talking to me, and that, of course, scared me. And the last thing that I saw on his Facebook wall was a posting saying goodbye. And he had deleted all of his pictures, and so it became very real. And in all of this, the witness was watching, and what was recognized was that there was still some hurt and shame and guilt in the experience of Kelly about her own suicide, and still how that has impacted so many people and how it has hurt people in her own experience. This man's daughter and family, of course, would be tremendously hurt if he were to leave, and yet if that were what happened, of course, that would be what was intended. All of this unfolded as it was intended to unfold. The man is safe and being cared for and in the hospital, and it all worked out exactly as was intended. And the reality is, or the non-reality is, all of it's a story. None of it's real. It feels real when it's happening. In the experience of Kelly, the doer came out. The doer picked up the phone. The doer called the police. The doer stayed on the line. The doer was shaking. There was adrenaline happening. There was real concern for the outcome of this apparent story of this other person. And yet behind all of that, there was a witness or consciousness or awareness saying, this is all divinely happening. There is nothing that can be done wrong here. Even if the outcome here is quote unquote bad and this particular person is successful in leaving this planet, that is what's intended. And there's even beauty in that. So there's been a lot of sharing in this video, and none of it really links together other than going back to the theme of it, which is loving what is. It is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. And nothing more than that. So I will post the details for the radio show tomorrow and hope that you guys log in. And thanks again for the continued comments and feedback and love and support and questions and everything. I won't be doing a video for a few days. We're going into Easter weekend, and I plan to try and really enjoy that with friends and family. And so this will be the last video for a couple of days unless something else happens. With love, in love, until next time.